something on your mind. Too obsessed to stay away from you. These things aren't too complicated. I want you to stay. I don't really wanna know if the music starts fading with you. I wanna stay. I don't really wanna know if our heart starts breaking with you. I'll be okay. I don't really wanna go if the music starts fading with you. I wanna stay. I don't really wanna know if our hearts start breaking with you. I'll be okay. You got something on your mind too. Obsessed to stay away from you. These things are too complicated. My best friend's always later. She just moves with the weather. She guides me with her patience and we breathe in together. Some mystics call it wisdom when we move with the weather. So change me with your nature, but don't lose me forever. These young kids and the other kids say oh no, so they'll die, so they go. These young kids and the other kids say oh no, so they'll die, so they go. My best friend's always late out, she just moves with the weather. Regardless of the day, can we just take it together? The path is not determined when we move with the weather. Don't tell me your concepts, I need love lasts forever.
You looking for Mark's case? Hello everyone, welcome to our very last Andrew Hilton craft beer tasting just before Christmas. But as you can guess by the lighting, it's not just us. Thank you very much Megan and Lexi from the SAAG who actually set up all the lights for us. And this is also the SAAG Wednesday night beer tasting tonight. So for all of you who've been joining us for the last 9 months doing our weekly Wednesday night beer tastings, no real change. We're going to get through our 4 beers. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm probably going to swear once or twice more than I'm really supposed to. And we're going to wrap this thing up around 7 o'clock. For all of you folks from the SAAG who have the rest of the kit, who have either 2 or another 4 beers, we will be doing the latter half of the tasting in the second hour. So let's start out by getting some beer in our glasses, shall we? We're going to do Cabin tonight, and we're going to do the absolutely amazing Super Saturation, a deconstruction. So what's our theme of the night? Well, the Cabin can here, the Super Saturation, it has these 3 stripes. It has the yellow, the orange, and the red. Those stand for the 3 hops that they use to actually make this wonderful IPA. And those 3 hops are Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops. Now, these are all relatively recent hops when we're talking about the grand scheme of things. I brought some props here with me. We're going to start here with the Shepherd named Spitfire. Now, this is a traditional British, they're calling it an amber ale. I'd call it more like an extra special bitter. This is going to use European hops. In this case, probably a lot of East Kent Goldings and that sort of thing. So very spicy, very dry, very woody, very cedary hops. These are not those. These are modern North American hops. And all of these hops, at least in part, get their parentage from the 3 C hops that we started seeing in the late 70s and early 80s. And the 3 Cs are Cascade, Centennial, and the 3rd C either Chinook or Columbus. Now these hops, there is no Sierra Nevada Pale Ale without Cascade. These hops are so incredibly foundational in the Western North American style of making IPAs. Lots of grapefruit, lots of pine resin, very intensely bitter hops. Cascade can be very, very grassy, and in exceptional examples, you can actually have creeping in some of those tropical fruit and some of those more juicy citrus characters like navel orange or even mandarins, but that's not the rule. What hop progression has really been going along with here has been to produce more of those delicate aromas and more of those big, exciting tropical aromas that aren't just grapefruit and pine. So let's jump right in here. So we're going to open with the Super Saturation. I'm going to recommend a small pour on this one because we're also going to finish with the Super Saturation. And if this is your first time having this beer, lucky you, because it's definitely not my first and it's definitely not my 50th. I absolutely love Super Saturation. For long-time watchers, you probably are saying, Kyle, you bloody hypocrite, you like Sunshine Rain better. Yes, I do, but they've never done a deconstructed Sunshine Rain, so shut up. The reason I like this style is it's just unapologetically New England IPA. We've started to see now a little bit of a move towards kind of no-coast IPAs where it takes a little bit from the east and a little bit from the west, and that's kind of what 88's Wave Pool is like. And I would also say the Reinhard Armed and Citra is a little bit one of those hybrid ones. But this is just this pure East Coast IPA style. For those of you not familiar, East Coast versus West Coast. West Coast IPAs traditionally tend to have a little higher alcohol, a little more bitterness, and a little more heavy usage of kind of those piney grapefruity hops. Are there IPAs that are done in a West Coast style that use some of these more modern, like super tropical hops? absolutely, that's kind of the new wave or second wave West Coast IPAs that we're just starting to get into now. Really, the first exceptional one I've seen so far would probably be like the Cabin Seasons Pass, but those are brand new. Like that just came out this fall, like 6 weeks ago. Anyway, the East Coast IPAs, they dial down that bitterness. They go for more of the, almost the way a fresh like bag of hop pellets smell without all that bitterness. They really go for the aroma, and they make them much more sessionable. It's also led to an absolute explosion in IPA sales because what was the big thing that turned people off IPA? Well, it was really high alcohol. It's 7 to 7.5 standard. A lot of double IPAs now are 7.5. And because it was so intensely bitter. I think most exemplified by beers like Mikkeller's 1000 IBU, a double IPA that literally had 10 times the maximum perceivable amount of bitterness the human tongue can actually perceive. It was an interesting experiment. I will stop before I say it was a good beer. So, having said all of that giant word salad, let's taste some beer. And I've kind of screwed up my carbonation by swirling it in the glass like an idiot. But there's, right off the hop, I get citrus, I get orange, I get a little bit of grapefruit, but I'd say my primary, I'm going to add a little more beer so I actually have carbonation here. I'd say my primary citrus is not grapefruit, which if you're tasting West Coast is very unusual. I get lemon and lime, I do get navel oranges. I get something in kind of a piney character, but it's very mild. Like I might say spruce tips, but and only because I'm looking for it specifically. Tropical fruits there, I definitely get something in that mango passion fruit sort of style. And other people feel free to jump in on this too. I think I'm actually getting comments tonight, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Good old super saturation. How do you go wrong with that? So now I'm curious. I didn't actually check this before. Are these all the same alcohol? Are these all at 6%? Yeah, they are. So according to Cabin, these are all the exact same base beer in terms of grains. But they all just use a single one of the 3 hops that make this up. So that's going to be really exciting. For those who want to get their stuff organized early, we're actually going to do these in the order that the hops were actually created for the first time. So the oldest hop to the youngest, which is going to be Citra, then Simcoe, and then Mosaic. Lexi, do we have any questions on the YouTube side yet? Or Megan? Nothing yet? All right. Well, we are through our first beer here. I'm going to get rid of this, just see if the comment side is my problem. Yes, it is definitely my problem. So once again, my comments are broken. So if one of you could read comments to me, my comments are broken again.
Just refresh the...
Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing.
It's like a DE saturation. Get it?
Yeah,
Get it?
I've got it now.
It's mine. Oh, you got it.
I got it now, but yeah, if you want to read them as they kind of come in, that would be really help me. Saturation Wednesday, tropical fruit and super fresh. Sean, you're a huge nerd. Yeah, tangerine. Tangerine's a great one. Actually, you know what? Of all the cabin beers that I've had, this reminds me the most of that 4 Alive sour that they had over the summer. Just in the amount of like pure tropical fruit and citrus fruit that's in this. And Elizabeth gets coriander. I'll say okay. Yeah, I can see it. Purely because coriander to me comes off quite lemony, and this certainly has an herbal component that I didn't actually appreciate till you said that. But yeah, in the glass, I think it gets buried by the tropical fruit. But something I should do more is actually, when I'm tasting wine, very often I'll actually smell the empty glass, just because now there's no alcohol. All I'm smelling is just a very thin layer of liquid on the inside of the glass. And yeah, I could see coriander on that. Okay, let's jump straight into Citra. Now, Citra, in terms of, modern craft brewing, is a little bit of an old one, actually. The very first documented case of an experimental clone of Citra is from 1990. In 1992-93, they took it from 1 plant to 4. This was developed in Oregon. Actually, all of these were developed basically by different scientists or different agriculturalists working at the same hop company in Yakima, Oregon. So these all have a common provenance in terms of who actually created them. And these are not, genetically manipulated. These are classic Mendelian crossings. So they are interbreeding different hops to create a new one. Traditionally, until a hop kind of takes off, they'll have like what we call like HBC numbers, which are like experimental hop number 148 or 119 or 273. It's only later that you'll actually see them become something really, really brandable, like Citra or Mosaic or Simcoe. On very rare occasions, you'll see IPAs that actually say, "Oh, we're using this brand new hop, and it's number 381, and it's brand new, and we think it's brilliant." The reason you don't see those very often is basically kind of goes back to what I was saying here with the Citra. Like 3 years in, they only had 4 plants, and until they actually managed to find a customer for Citra, the hop could have gone nowhere. So Citra was being grown. They had 4 plants by about 1993, and then along came a brewery you might have heard before, Sierra Nevada. And Sierra Nevada was about to do something really special. Double IPAs or Imperial IPAs had been on the market for a little while, but they wanted to do something different. They wanted to make a big mass market IPA that was going to have huge crowd appeal and hit everybody. And they wanted an exciting, sexy new hop to be part of that. And they put Citra in it, and that's when Citra went bananas. So, based on the name, you would probably suspect this beer doesn't smell like bananas, and that is absolutely true. Citra is really well known for having a really strong tangerine navel orange component to it. It's the primary hop in, you'll be unsurprised to learn like Reinhard, Armed, and Citra. It's very, very common. It's actually, I think, the highest percentage hop in Deschutes Fresh Squeeze IPA. You see Citra absolutely everywhere because of the new hops. It just reliably gives you that giant citrusy boost just right in the mid-mouth. Without really having a ton of bitterness. Citra does have some real bitterness to it. You can even use it as a bittering hop. I think its traditional alpha acid percentage is between 10 and 13, which is a little lower than Chinook or Cascade. It's a little higher than than Centennial, pardon me. But yeah, Citra has become this. Everybody uses it because who doesn't like fresh orange and tangerine? Now, one comment I'm expecting to get, and again, my comments are broken as always, one comment I'm really expecting to get is, I don't like this as much as the super saturation. And you know what? I'm not sure I would actually like any of these on their face as much as the finished beer. This is a really cool experiment and a really great idea, and on its face, that's a really cool IPA. But none of these on their own should be as good as super saturation, or why isn't super saturation just 100% Simcoe? That would make no sense. All of these things should be contributing different levels of complexity, different things to the final beer. And I think for the super saturation, this is definitely giving you exactly what it should. Intense citrus and orange and tangerine characters. Maybe even pineapple, actually. I can also smell this beer just kind of wafting out of the glass as I sit here. I'll get rid of this. There. Give me that. Thank you. It's fine. Just leave this alone and we'll deal with this. Just let me. No, you don't. You're fine. You're fine. I have a working phone now. You get nothing. Eric had them arranged by the color stripes on the label. That's totally fair. Beer and Dream tasting. I thought so too. I'm really excited for this one. First impression of the Citra is Orange Julius. I can kind of see that. There's a little bit of like a vanilla dreamsicle creamsicle thing going on. Oh, and Chad's going to blend all 3 back. That's fun. Scotty, we started on the super saturation and then we went straight to the Citra. Sorry if I'm getting late back. Craig gets melon. I don't get melon just because melon's really subtle. Oh, like bitter melon, like melon rind. Yeah, actually, the bitterness in the beer is almost coming off as like bitter melon rind. I like that. Push-up pops on a stick. You're getting pineapple. And Jeremy, Aaron's not messing with the down. He just really wants to have his phone back, which, you know, I shouldn't have stolen. But I did, and now it's mine. And yes, Scotty, we are on the Citra. I'm going to give this back for you just for a sec to turn the volume down, though, because hearing my own voice is super distracting.
Oh, sorry, what's that?
And I lost Aaron's phone. I'm back to mine. Oh, he cranks the volume. Oh, that's well played, Aaron. All right, fine. I'll put my phone back on even if the comments don't work. That's fair enough. You can have your phone. I'll take my own phone.
Is it not working?
It'll be fine. We'll be fine.
It'll kick in?
No, but I'll just refresh it every few minutes. Lexi, do we have any questions or comments coming over to the other side? Nothing so far? Cool. Man. I will say, as much as I love that immediate giant like citrus hit right at the start, it's a very simple beer. Like, there is a style of making IPAs out there, making beers out there called the smash method. Single malt, single hop. We're only going to use one type of barley. Usually it's either two-row or occasionally use like a Pilsner malt. And then we're going to use one type of hop. And you can make really, really cool beers for that, especially with a really versatile hop like Citra is, like Simcoe is. I really can't say that much about Mosaic. Of all of the hops that we actually had today, I do the most research about Mosaic, because Mosaic is so new and I know so little about it. So Citra went from kind of one plant in 94 plants in 1993. First commercial crop for actual sales to other breweries was 2003. It has basically doubled in crop size every single year since, and it's now, along with like Cascade and Centennial and Simcoe, one of the most important hops in brewing. Also for a long time, that era, right after Citra came out, was when I had started home brewing. Good luck getting bloody Citra as a home brewer when it first came out, because when it got hot, it got red hot. Oh, another fun fact. I was going to cover this a little later, but I actually want to cover it now just because I was talking about home brewing. There's the nerdiness of, making beer from a kit. There's the hopeless nerdiness of making your beer all from grain. And then there's the just abandon all hope ye who enter here of growing your own hops. Now, hops don't grow from seeds. Hops grow from rhizomes. And you can buy hop rhizomes online. You can't with any of these because these are actually patented hop varietals. You can buy them in whole cone. You can buy them in pellets, which are just basically whole cones ground up, and then they look like rabbit food. They're pressed down little hop pellets. But you can't buy rhizomes. You can't grow them yourselves. These guys actually own the rights to this plant. So you want Citra? Well, you can't grow it yourself. You could go out in the field and dig up a rhizome and steal it. And I'm sure some people have. But short of stealing, Citra belongs to this one Yakima Valley farm, and that's it. They have licensed it to other hop growers. There is, in fact, some European-grown Citra, but they have paid to license those rhizomes.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And yeah, it is a borderline smash, isn't it? Actually, Chad, I was going to reach out to you, and then I forgot because we got ripping busy basically the minute we opened. I was going to see if you had a little baggie of Citra and Simcoe and Mosaic so I could actually show off the hops. And then we got ripping busy and I completely forgot about that. So sorry about that. I was going to buy some hops from you and then I didn't. Okay, let's I was going to say, do we want to move right back to the Super Sat? But no, let's move right into the Simcoe. Now, I was very surprised when I was doing the research for this. Simcoe is actually not nearly as old as Citra. Simcoe was actually started being propagated in 2000. I think of Simcoe as being barely newer than Cascade. It's 30 years younger than Cascade at least. So Simcoe was basically made to be an improved member of the 3C family. So Cascade, Centennial, and then Chinook Columbus. If you want to think of Simcoe as a better version of Centennial was the goal, that was what they were going for. They were still going for that West Coast style. Still grapefruit, still pine, but lots of grapefruit. Grapefruit bombs. The year that Simcoe really went nuts would have been about the year 2014-ish. And I remember having like Lagunitas sucks was, this is a fun story. Actually, it's a very seasonally appropriate story. Lagunitas has for every single year for absolute donkey's years done this strong brown sugar brown ale called Lagunitas Brown Sugar. That was always their Christmas seasonal. And one Christmas about 6 years ago, they screwed it up. Like the whole batch went off. And they were standing there like, oh, that beer takes 2 months to make. By the time the next beer batch is ready, it's going to be like February. What the hell are we going to do at the last minute to create a Christmas seasonal? So they just said, screw it, let's brew a Super Simcoe heavy West Coast IPA, make it super pale, basically make the entire label an apology for how much we suck for screwing up our beloved Christmas seasonal. They called it Lagunitas Sucks, and then they ended up with irony of ironies. Everybody liked Lagunitas Sucks better. I can remember that Christmas, like people phoning me from Calgary saying, hey, do you have that Sucks beer? I'm like, no, it's sold out in like an afternoon. Oh man, it's so hard to get. Well, turns out they still make Lagunitas Sucks. Brown Sugar is now an all winter seasonal, and Lagunitas Sucks has actually become the winter seasonal. You know, back before Heineken bought a 49% share in Lagunitas, and we went from a really good agency that paid for refrigerated storage repping Lagunitas and us having, I don't know, 12 Lagunitas beers in Alberta, to it going over to Molson that brings in one Lagunitas SKU, maybe two, and they sit in non-refrigerated storage at Connect forever because no one wants to buy them because it's a Molson product now. Good times. I've been to Lagunitas actually. Lagunitas is a really fun place. Don't let the fact that they're really underrepresented in the Alberta market spoil it for you. Great brewery. You should go. You should go in the spring or the fall because their outdoor beer garden is spectacular. Okay, that was a really nice tangent. Let's go on to Simcoe. Oh, and spontaneously my comments have decided to work for no apparent reason. Wonderful. Okay. Everybody getting how like intensely West Coasty that is? There's the pine. There's the bitterness. This is huge beer. And it's so different from the Citra. The Citra was just light and fluffy and fruity and pretty. And I've missed so many comments because Aaron's being a phone hog. Aaron, the last comment I have is from Chad. Galaxy is almost impossible to get these days. I need the ones above that, please.
Oh dear.
Yep. This is what you get for being a phone hog, Aaron.
You need the ones above that?
Yes, because I can't access them.
That's right as well.
Thanks. Chad thinks the Mosaic will be the best of the bunch. Sean really like this Citra. You can license them, Eric. So I did overspeak a little bit. It's one of those things where if you're a commercial hop grower, you can probably buy the rights to have these rhizomes, but you probably have to sign a contract where you wouldn't let anyone else like take cuttings or anything else. I actually don't know. I know that they grow Citra outside of the Yakima Valley, and I know that the people who own the patent for Citra only grow in Yakima. So it must be licensable, but I don't know if they'd like license you for your backyard. I think that's a little too far out of their control. Oh, and Chad would have actually brought all of the hops. That would have been nice. Thank you, Chad. And next time we do something like this, I will hit you up and not forget. London has some decent voice for it. Really launched an IPA called Range Simcoe. It was awesome. Yeah, Simcoe really had like a minute. Citra has had one of those, like it was like the IPA of the minute. Everybody had to have Citra in their IPA. Galaxy had like a hot minute about 2-3 years ago. Nigel, is there really a hot IPA? Is there really a hot hop right now that everybody has to be using right this minute? Yeah, and I think it's kind of, we've moved past that just as a as an IPA style. I think New England IPA showed up and just that was all anyone cared about. But yeah, Citra's still just the bomb. Everybody loves Citra. But yeah, there are just these hops that just go nuts. And Simcoe, in terms of timing, was, Citra was really hard to get, but Simcoe was a little further along in its development for whatever reason. Amarillo also had a real hot minute. That's true. Grapefruit bomb. And yes, Eric, that is what happened to Lagunitas. And yeah, pine forest to happiness. There's the grapefruit, there's the pine drops, there's the resin. And you know what, if you wanted to tell me that this was like an improved version of Cascade or an improved version of Centennial, I'm right there with you. Like, I get that. I still carry a massive torch for Centennial. You know, gun on my head, I'd probably say Centennial is my absolute favorite hop of all time. But yeah, I do really respect what Simcoe does. I really like it. If you're ever, like, if this is completing your whole world, you do need to go down to Santa Rosa, California, and try the Russian River Row 2 Hill 56. Russian River was so committed to Simcoe, it's part of their Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger blends. Actually, I know it's in Younger. I don't know for sure it's in Elder. Yeah, they were so committed to it, and Simcoe was so hard to get. They were like, well, we'll just take like an entire hill or an entire row on a hill, and that will just be ours. And they're like, nobody buys a row. Do you know how much a row is? They're like, no, we just want it. So their row 2 of Hill 56 of this giant Simcoe field is just Russian Rivers, and they make a beer called row 2 Hill 56 out of those Simcoe hops. You actually vote the Simcoe over the Citra. I will completely agree it's a more balanced beer. Can you have favorite children? Yes, you can. Sabro hops. I think that is one that's starting to have a little bit of a moment among brewers, but I don't think it's really gotten there with like the buying public. I think the Table Ghost is the first Sabro I've seen at least declared on the can. So it usually is a big deal among brewers before like the customer ever finds out. Like Citra was in like Sierra Nevada Torpedo before anyone had heard of Citra. In fact, I think it was still like a 3-digit number, pardon me, as a hop before we even ever actually knew what was going into Torpedo. You're saying the Simcoe gets better as the beer warms? Scotty gets the yeast note on this. And yeah, it really is. That was something, and that's why we're going to come back to the Super Sat at the end, is it really does bring home what all of these are contributing to this blend. Like, the Citra's fun. It's like tangerines and oranges, and it's great. And the Simcoe's great, and it's, you know, grapefruit, and it's pine, and it's earthy, and it's still very fruity, but you definitely get that powerful, old school, like, Red Racers, Sierra Nevada, like, big down note bitterness. To blend the two, the tropical fruit of the Citra are going to soften those sharp notes in the Simcoe, which is really interesting. The Simcoe gets better as it warms. Fun fact, not so much tonight. Tonight, actually, I get to drink fairly cold beer because we only have the Christmas lights, thank you again, as well as one of the hot lights on. Normally when I do this, actually, by the time I get to the 4th beer, I'm usually drinking very, very warm beer by the end because those lights are just nuts. But not tonight. Tonight I get cold beer, which is just lovely. Oh, Fabro hops or Sabro hops? Well, you know, that's fair. Interesting point. You feel that West Coast IPAs get better as the beer warms. I actually like West Coast IPAs colder personally because it means the bitterness is less perceptible, but I'm probably in the minority there. You're welcome, SAAG folks. I'm 75% less sweaty tonight. That is true. I'm much less gross than usual. That is my gift to you this Christmas. Well, I said that on the air. Great. Well done, everyone. So let's jump on to the Mosaic and pretend I didn't say that. Okay, so this is the Mosaic. Mosaic is the absolute newest. Mosaic is a direct sister, or pardon me, daughter clone of Simcoe. So it is Simcoe crossed with one other hop strain to create Mosaic, and they couldn't be more different. Mosaic, actually, one of the best articles I was reading was Mosaic, the hop variety that changed everything. Mosaic is one of those hops that was really, really important to Alchemist for Hetty Topper, and especially to Sean Hill at Hill Farmstead. Because of that tea-like, blueberry, super fruity, ultra-low bitterness style that really came to personify, and just Sean Hill and the Alchemist and a couple other brewers literally created out of whole cloth the East Coast IPA style, largely based on Mosaic. So if there is a poster child for this is why East Coast IPAs are a thing, this is it in a glass right here. This is Mosaic. First developed in 2013, first for commercial sale a couple of years later. I mean, what do you really say about Mosaic other than the fact it's pretty as heck? I get like a little bit of soap, I get a little bit of spice, I do get the berries. The big tasting note whenever people talk about Mosaic is berries. Ooh. Oh, that's so, yeah, I just read Jeremy say so soft, and you beat me to it. It is so soft, and it's so gentle. And this is the style of IPA that will last on the shelf about a week and a half. Like, this is not something that will age particularly well because the preservative effect of the hops are almost not here. Those, like the Simcoe, 3 months, that's probably going to be fine. This is just so delicate, this is going to fall apart very quickly, which is a shame because of the three, I've got to say this is my favorite, which I was not expecting. I was fully expecting one of these two to be my favorite. The other fun thing is, just like with, is it passion fruit that some people can taste and some can't? What's the one that's
Cilantro.
cilantro? Is yeah, okay. It's also there's a tropical fruit, but yes. Just like with cilantro, where some people have the enzyme in their mouths where it doesn't taste like dish soap, and some people just don't have that, and just cilantro is disgusting. Happily, I do, so cilantro is amazing. There's the same thing with some of these new hops. In particular, Galaxy is really known for it. And on that side, I'm not so lucky. When people are like, oh, there's this amazing Galaxy hopped IPA, it tastes like everything I've ever wanted to beer. I'm just sitting here, it's like, could I get like a literally anything else? I can't. Galaxy doesn't taste like anything to me. And I'm really, really glad that this has come along because apparently Mosaic and Galaxy have a lot of notes in common, but because they're, as far as I know, unrelated, because this is a direct parent of Simcoe, or a direct child of Simcoe, I don't think that the enzyme confusion has crossed over as much. Papaya, thank you. That is the one I was thinking of. Biggest taste, florals, like so much going on here. And yeah, I think that this is definitely a lot of the subtlety and the fireworks and the prettiness that makes super saturation so cool. But you need the structural element. You need that immediately likable fruity hit that just draws you in right away. And then the complexity can just kind of pick at you in the background, just work at you and be like, hey, I know that you like this cold. How do you like this on the last swallow when you've been drinking it out in the sun and it's almost warm? Are you starting to pick up those florals now? It keeps the beer interesting, and I really appreciate that. Ooh, guava, yeah. It's another watch the promos moment from Aaron. Galaxy's Australian, there we go. I'm really struggling with the fruit. Like I could say a nondescript, almost strawberry for me, which is very odd. Strawberry, mango, I really would struggle to tell papaya apart from anything else. Guava's right there, yes, because it's got that beautiful like green sour fruit character. Oh yeah, this is a fun tasting, Jeremy. Like this was like Cabin's Christmas gift to like hardcore beer nerds. I don't even know if there's a beer here that I wouldn't recommend. Like, jonesing for West Coast classics, go for that. Just like, shut up and play me the hits, give me the Citra. You want just like really cool, super East Coast style, the Mosaic. And then the Super Sat's always going to be around. And we're only, 6 months away from summer saturation being back, aka best saturation. So, yeah, I don't know. There is something slightly green in here, and my brain is saying spinach, but I don't trust my brain on this one. There's something very green in here for me. If it goes off the rails, it'll be yours too, Kevin. Well, it can't. It can't go off the rails, because if it goes completely off the rails, what's the second hour for all the SAAG folks going to look like? Probably not great. So I've got to keep it reasonably together for at least the first hour tonight. Yeah, Mosaic's beautiful. I think the only issue with Mosaic is it's so low alpha acid that it's not going to be shelf stable or keg stable for very long. I think that as long as super saturation remains like a massive hit and has the extra acidity from the Simcoe to help keep everything together, having a regular release 100% Mosaic IPA that was always on store shelves, that would be very difficult for a brewery, because you're always going to have customers that go into the store that took a chance on it and then it didn't sell, and they're getting it like 6 months old and it's disgusting. That's very challenging. I like that it's contributing this much quality to the Super Sat, but it needs the Citra and the Simcoe to give it enough structure to prop it up, so that even if you go into the fine wine establishment attached to your local gas station and you get yourself some super saturation that's like 6 months old, it's not going to be perfect, but it's also not going to be undrinkable. Ooh, yeah. Okay, let's run it back to the super saturation here, because I do want to just pull all this together. And I suppose we should probably talk about the champagne tasting on Friday night as well. We'll get there. But I mean, I've been very involved. This has been fun. Don't you give me that look, Aaron. Uh-huh. What's in summer saturation? I genuinely don't know. But if you remember, we did the other saturation tasting, where we did super saturation, super duper saturation, regular old saturation, just saturation, and then also the summer saturation. I don't know that I ever got a 100% clear note on what all of the differences were. I did get tech sheets from Cabin, but honestly, as far as tech sheets go, Cabin does keep their cards pretty close to their chest on a lot of their recipes. So the difference between saturation, summer saturation, super saturation, I mean, super duper is pretty clear. It's just massive and huge and has tons of alcohol, and it's got lots and lots of hops in it. But the difference between the other three, which are all fairly close in alcohol and all fairly close in style, I actually, A, I don't have the tech sheets in front of me, and B, there really wasn't that much information on them. So I really couldn't say on that. And oh yeah, like that super saturation, now that I'm getting all the notes, like I'm going back and saying, what did I like about Citra? Well, I like the mandarin orange, and I like the big hit of mango, and I like the tangerine. Yep, that's right there. What did I like about Simcoe? Well, it got a little bit of pine. Actually, got more than a little pine. I got some really nice grapefruit. If I go looking for it, the pine's there, definitely the grapefruit, but it's kind of melding with all the other citrus. Remember I said like this reminds me a lot of like 4 Alive, which is just a 4 citrus sour. And then it's really hard to pin down where the Mosaic is in this beer, but because it's everywhere. It's contributing just a little here and a little there. It's filling in all the little corners and all the little gaps with just different delicious things, and making, if you've just got fruit and you've just got grapefruit and pine, There's all these little gaps that you can fill in with different things. And I think that's what the Mosaic's doing. That's why I really like this beer. And yes, I can't really take credit for the tasting. I mean, Cabin told me they were doing this, and like I was talking about this. For those of you who are longtime watchers, I think I introduced this as Cabin's doing a really cool thing, but I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't talk about it. I was talking about this about 3 weeks out because of how amazingly cool this was. I can take no credit. The second I heard about this, I was doing this. But yeah, this is just Cabin's awesome idea. This isn't mine. Yeah, I knew I had to do this from like the second I heard about it. I was talking about this in the loosest terms possible well before I was allowed to talk about it. So Super Duper is back as of today. I did see that on social media. I will be there Saturday. If they're going to give me some a little bit of super saturation, I will be there to pick it up. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but we will do our best. I think it's a mass-produced strawberry, like Safeway strawberry. Good old big Safeway strawberry. How much longer do I think it will be stable? I will be okay, just as someone who sells this, I will not be discounting the Mosaic. It's not going to be here this long. Probably won't make it till Christmas. But let's just say for whatever reason, oh, someone's phoning me. That's incredibly rude. So... Probably, no, it was a Calgary number. It was probably Lee Hansen. Like that guy. That guy. Yeah. I have a new voicemail. It's just Cabin. They're so mad at me now. It's like, God, we've been watching this whole thing. We hate you so much. We canceled all of your purchases for future. Let's be fair. We've done 2 other Cabin tastings, and they have not phoned me angrily.
They also haven't come on as guests.
They still have not. They've canceled now on 3 separate Cabin tastings have been canceled by Cabin. Yeah. But that's fine. It gets muddy. I actually don't know if it gets muddy. I think actually okay. New England IPAs, I will say that my big criticism of them would be that compared to a West Coast IPA where everything's just so immediately apparent and on display, an East Coast IPA, if they're not very well made, absolutely can get muddled. They don't have that really clear, like, this is the bitter note, here's some fruit, here's a bit of, like, citrus, and Bob's your uncle, we're done. New England IPAs, if they're badly made, they can be a bit muddled. I completely agree with that comment. This one, I don't. I think that really and truly, in this, the sum is greater than the whole of its parts. I would drink the super saturation ahead of everything except the straight Mosaic, which I think is really good, but I also understand that that's a beer with probably a 60-day shelf life. I'd want this off my shelves like no later than Feb 1. So no, like I can understand why you wouldn't do 100% Mosaic. That just does everything the other beers do and does them together, which I really like. Cabin Brewing, the reason some people haven't packed it in and left the province. Anybody want to try ratings here while I set up talking about the champagne tasting? And I'll get to those ratings in just a second. Okay, so for Shameless Promotion Corner this week, only one, because we are not doing any tastings the week of Christmas. So nothing on the 23rd, and if you think Lee or Aaron or I are coming in on the 25th, you're crazy. So nothing next week. But we have one Friday. This Friday, we're going to do a champagne tasting. Now, if you've been around the store for a while, you know that champagne and Christmas for us really do go hand in hand. I mean, New Year's obviously is bubbly time, but like for us, it's a Christmas thing. For every year that I've been here and going back far longer than I was, my dad would bring in like Chinese buffet and do champagne with all the staff. And Christmas Eve at my parents' house was always champagne. And I've been doing at Mocha Cabana on the first Monday of every December going back, 15, 18 years I've been doing a champagne and sparkling wine event there. with them. This is the first year I'm not in forever. And then we usually do as well on Christmas Eve. We will always have at least a bottle or two of sparkling, just open to share with people when they come in. This year we can't do any of those things. I'm not even getting champagne on Christmas Eve unless I drink it myself alone on my sofa like a weirdo. I'm totally going to do that, but that's still not really that nice. So I want to do this with you. We're going to keep that tradition going as best we can, and we're going to do a champagne and sparkling wine tasting. Now, Devin quite rightly called me out, said that, Kyle, you can't do a champagne tasting without doing a champagne, because draft one of this tasting didn't actually have a true champagne, but we're going to do one. We have the Pierre Gimone. This is their Brut. This is their Premier Cru Brut. So I think for at least our side, the best dollar for dollar champagne in the store, because champagne gets so expensive so fast. We're going to do a true cava. This is the Mirgin cava. This is probably approaching our house cava these days. Cava is really interesting. It's from Spain. It doesn't necessarily use the same grapes as champagne. Champagne has to be a blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. Cava can use Chardonnay, but more traditionally it's done with 3 Spanish grapes called Macabeu, Parellada, and Xarel-lo. Did I actually say what the blend is on this cat? Nothing more exciting than watching Kyle read a wine label live on YouTube. No, it does not say on the back at all. And then finally we have the Limoux. And Limoux is really neat. These guys actually started doing sparkling wine deliberately about 70 years before champagne did. So whenever people tell you that, champagne is like the real taste, no, Limoux did it like 70 years, a lifetime earlier. So we're going to do the Crème de Limoux Rosé. This is 100% Pinot Noir, done pink, done very dry, done very well. Kit for Friday night is $95. I have exactly 4 left because I tried to reorder the champagne and it's out. If you come in and we are sold out, we will make up a different kit without this. We'll just find a different champagne, and I will try to talk about that as well. So that is wrapping up Shameless Promotion Corner. Let us get to comments and questions. As to what the beer tasting is between Christmas and New Year's, I honestly don't know yet. I have some thoughts. I'd really like to do the new Establishment Take 5 because it sounds really cool and I still haven't tasted it. But yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do yet. I don't know if you have any thoughts, throw them in the comments. Because and don't be a troll and say Imperial Stout, because we tried High Alcohol Week and we all know how that went. So yeah, let's give me some ideas down in the comments. Megan, do we have any comments on the YouTube side?
No. Apparently SAAG viewers know everything there is to know about beer.
Fair enough. Highly educated crowd. All right, so Chad has Super Saturation itself first, and then 4, 2, 3 Simcoe last. Fair enough. Kevin, 1, 4. Oh wow, like 1, 4, 3, 2, basically the same except with these two reversed. Okay, I'm just gonna browse through this. Wow, it takes a while before I hit the very first person who doesn't have the blend first. That's interesting. And yeah, that's Dave and Chris Bateman at 2413. That's interesting. And then then it jumps into a lot of people who don't at first. So 4213, 4132. A lot of love for the Mosaic, and I do not disagree at all. And yeah, Friday night's gonna be fun. Ooh, what do you pair with it? I'll be pairing it with a taxi. What do I pair with it? I mean, that will be the case tonight too, doing a 2-hour event with beer. What do you pair with champagne? I really like brioche with champagne. Like brioche with just like toasted brioche and butter are so classic. I love foie gras. I love chocolates. Really, champagne's decadent. It's dry and it's full of flavor. It loves strong cheese. It loves pate. It loves bread and butter. It loves almost anything as long as it's really horrifically bad for you. I even like champagne in pizza. I actually think that works in a beer and pizza way because thanks to our old friend sour bitter confusion, champagne is just sour enough that it can trick your palate into tasting bitter, so it works like beer and pizza. I actually think that, with apologies to Corey, who makes the best pizza in town, I actually like champagne and cheap pizza. So yeah, I like cheap pizza and champagne together. It's just a me thing. Take 5 stellar. Good. No spoilers. The mixture of the three. Oh yeah, we were gonna do that, weren't we, Chad? Let's try the. Okay, so you say that it's more bitter, so I'm gonna go really light on the Simcoe. So I'm only gonna go just the tiniest bit of Simcoe. I really like how much fruit is coming from Citra, so I'm actually gonna give it probably twice that amount of Citra. I'm gonna go there for Citra, and then you bloody booze pigs. There's not much Mosaic left. I'm gonna give it just a top dressing of Mosaic and give it a bit of a spin in the glass. Nope, Cabin is officially better than this at me. It really, like, if you don't get it right, like the green notes, like Brussels sprouts and cabbage and spinach really come out like way more than you'd think. Blackbird would be fun. Prosecco with potato chips. Yeah, actually I love potato chips and champagne, and it's the same thing. So for those of you who don't know, sour bitter confusion is the fact that if you taste something intensely sour and you're not used to drinking very sour beer or just sour things in general, your palate, and even if you are under the right conditions, especially if you have a really high salt content in your mouth will actually detect sour things as bitter, so it can make things that are sour, like champagne, like very dry white wine, come off as lightly bitter, and they become refreshing in the way that like a slightly bitter beer is refreshing. So yeah, things like champagne and hot wings, champagne and chips, champagne and cheap pepperoni pizza actually work shockingly well. They shouldn't, but they really do. Elizabeth suggests low alcohol. You disagree? We actually did low alcohol week, believe it or not. No fat tug. We know, Scotty. Another Wish for Porter's week. We are definitely going to do another dark beer week coming up here in the immediate-ish future. I don't know. Cabin's last round of seasonals was this. It didn't, and like a Goza. It didn't have a dark beer on it. I need to get. Oh, okay. There have been some new dark beers. Aaron, could you do me a solid here?
Sure.
Probably sitting on the back counter behind the grower station, there are the really teeny tiny cans of the Blind Man Imperial
yes.
Stout. I want to talk about those because they're adorable.
Sounds good.
So yes, we do have some new Imperial Stouts from Cabin, but it's okay, or not from Cabin, from Blind Men, pardon me. But it's okay because they come in teeny tiny little cans. I think we are, I think I could be talked into doing a tasting, not just of Imperial Stouts, but I think I could be talked into doing a tasting.
These are Eric's.
Where we do, yeah, Eric's, these are actually yours specifically. Thank you for these. They'll go back in yours in just a minute, but look how good that is. Look how tiny they are. They're adorable. I absolutely love these. They're what, 230 mils or something? They're 237 mils. They're less than a cup, which is all you need because the alcohol is really high at 11%. But yeah, look how good those are. I love these. So yes, we will be doing a dark beer tasting that, assuming they don't immediately run out from Blind Men, will feature that tiny can of beer because that's so good. Abbey Round for Old Man River's pretty good. Yes, we have done that not too long ago. Nut Brown Ale tasting. Ooh. Jeremy, message the store. If you can think of 4 nut browns off the top of your head that are worth tasting, I'm struggling with that because, like the Old Man River that we just mentioned, that's more like a Belgian style brown. I'm trying to think of like 4 traditional like English nut browns that are even on the market. If you can think of 4 that like are readily available, do message me and we can make that happen. Lactose beers with the extra hangover. Oh God. Dutch Juice Spectrum, Skyrocket 5 and Cloud Juice. That would be a fun tasting. Annex's Dark Beer Seasonal. I will be at Annex on Saturday and picking up 3 new beers, including their Imperial Stout, which comes in a big can, so no. Any Christmas seasonal beers? Again, the tragedy of a big brewery buying the rights to a small brewery. Sleeman's now represents Anchor in Alberta, and now there's no Anchor Christmas beer, which is great because it was the only really good Christmas beer. So now we're all stuck with Granville Lions Winter, which, fair, is the best beer Molson brews. Also isn't that great. I mean, Whistler Chestnut's okay. Whistler's Winter Dunkel's, I don't know, it tastes like a Terry's chocolate orange. Doesn't taste a whole hell of a lot like beer. It's fine. Barrel aged. Ooh. Diet beer, no. I will diet on my own time. Wee little malt bombs. That's adorable. Goat Locker Nut Brown. Wild Rose does, and actually, Wild Rose Barracks Brown is very good. Barracks Brown is actually a good Brickworks. Okay, yeah. Okay, we are putting this together, I think. How are we doing for time? We are about where we need to be to do the handoff and the switch. So, I won't see you folks for, at least all you non-SAG folks, I won't see you folks for a week. That makes me sad. So I will see all of you the Wednesday after Christmas for a beer tasting to be decided. I don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for joining me and Aaron on this insano beer journey that we've been on the last 9 months, and the wine journey, and occasionally the whiskey journey, and once briefly we did a cocktail thing, but it didn't really get any legs, so it kind of stopped. We do want to get that back in the new year, though, because Eric did some fantastic art for us for that we do want to use, even if he made me really bald, Eric. But yes, that's an axe to grind for another day. So yes, I think we'll call the official end to the first half of the tasting right there. For all of you at home, thank you so much. Have a wonderful holidays. I will see you between Christmas and New Year's. I am done for now. For all of you on the SAG channel, you're going to be turned over to the capable hands of DJ Daya, and I am going to take 5 minutes just to shut up for 5 minutes, and I will be right back with you to work through the next 4 beers. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will be either back in 2 weeks or right back with you in 5 minutes.
It's a beautiful day when you catch the sunset. Slipping in the water, watch the sun get wet. Cool out. Let's meet at the cruise house so we could act silly and let the fool out. It's all in good fun cause ain't nobody tripping. Might get a little dumb but ain't nobody slipping. Relax and chill, it's a daily mission. We doing what we love and this is how we living. Caught up in traffic on the 405. Slow on the I-10, messing up my ride. Hop on the 5 to the 101. Or catch me on the 110 chasing the sun. Caught up in traffic on the 405. Slow on the I-10, messing up my ride. Hop on the 5 to the 101. Life in Southern California.
Longboard, one kick, one push, and I glide for 1,000 feet. Headphones on to the sounds and beats. Listening to Cool Keith, Arredondo Beach. Hawthorne, my hood, my block, where the thugs and the hoodlums creep. Why this drama always on my street? Feeling like I'm too deep, so I